Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the 3 Minute Horror Show. My name is Ben. You already know me. And this over here, and I'm pointing the right way this time because now I'm good at this, is Brandon Reines. He's an Edmonton filmmaker. He runs the channel Brandon vs. Movies, and he's responsible for films such as Grotesque and I'm Haunted, that is on Found TV, and Grotesque is on Tubi. So, Brandon and I have done a lot of these things together so far. We've done Halloween, we've done Friday the 13th, we've done Nightmare on Elm Street, we've done Hostel. We're doing Child's Play too. And now we're all going to do Hatchet on my channel. So, Hatchet movies are interesting. And we're going to start, there are four of them, okay? So, there's Hatchet 1, Hatchet 2, and Hatchet 3. And Hatchet 1 through 3 are interesting in the respect that each one takes place exactly 1 minute after the last one ended. So they're all lumped together. They all occur within the span of a couple of days. These first two movies, although it's quite a few years between them for real in real life. They all take place in the manner of a couple of days, and then the fourth one, Victor Crowley, takes place several years later. I think it's 10 years later. But today we're going to talk about the first one, Hatchet from 2006, and these were all written and directed by Adam Green. Brandon, what do you think of this?
This was my very first exposure to Hatchet. I'd heard a lot
Yeah.
about him. I knew of them. I knew of Adam Green. I've even seen interviews with him. I just,
Yeah.
for some reason, never got around to actually watching them until the last couple of days.
Mhm.
So this is my first time, and I should correct you just so you don't make a
Okay.
mistake like you did on
Uh-oh.
our Child's Play. I'm pretty sure. I think it was part two, or was it part three that was not directed by Adam Green. There
Oh,
was
okay.
one that he wrote but did not direct. Pretty sure.
Uh-oh. I made
Um,
another mistake. I love making
unless
mistakes.
unless I'm wrong this time. But I'm pretty sure I checked that, and I was like, oh, I thought you did them all, but no.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Anyways, so this is my first time ever seeing them, and yeah, I can see why they're good. Like, there's
Yeah.
a lot of good stuff. The first one, I'd say, like, very very good. It was awesome. Some of the most brutal, imaginative, awesome kills ever. It's the kind of thing that with a bigger budget we could have done made a grotesque Mildred Moyer kills more like that. We were just way more limited with what we could do.
Yeah.
But they were like, holy shit, like they were pretty brutal. And overall, like, yeah, definitely an enjoyable movie.
So Adam Green must have made friends in the right places when he started out because he got involved with some pretty heavy hitters with this, with the special effects, with John Michael Buchler, I believe, is one of the guys. I don't know how you say his last name, but he got introduced to people like Robert Englund and Tony Todd and people who you see in these movies and Kane Hodder all through the people that he got involved with doing the effects, which is really cool because these movies are absolutely full of cameos. They're horror movies, or it's a slasher movie made by a fan of slasher movies, and not in the respect that Glenn Danzig made his movies. Like these are actually good. Um, so there are lots of nods to other horror series. They're self-referential. Adam Green does a cameo in all of them, including number three. That even if he didn't direct it, or he does play drunk guy in most of them, who just appears. He may even be the same drunk guy because of the way that these movies run together. Like he may be the same guy, the same drunk guy who is found at Mardi Gras in the first one, and it's kind of like at Mardi Gras still in the second one, and then gets picked up by the cops and is in the police station in the third one. I believe that that's probably what it is. But these are the stories of a character named Victor Crowley, who is played by Kane Hodder, the long-standing Friday the 13th Jason actor. So I'll give you the backstory on Victor Crowley before we get into it. It happens a little bit later in the story that you actually hear about how this guy came about, but I'll tell you guys right now. So Victor Crowley was a disfigured young boy, and he was teased and bullied, and no, everybody made fun of him because that's what people used to do to people who had physical deformities and people who were physically disabled. Back in the old, I mean, it probably still happens now in some places. People are more accepting now for the most part, but it probably still happens now. But this guy lived in a shack in the swamp with his father, and his father was also played by Kane Hodder. So in the parts where you see the father and Victor Crowley at the same time, it's not Kane Hodder playing Victor Crowley. It's his partner. I saw that in an interview. But so what happens is one day, some terrible young children are firing fireworks into this shack to scare Victor, to torment Victor, and they accidentally set the shack on fire. And so what happens is his father runs home, sees the shack on fire, and he's trying to get his son free. And so he's chopping through the wooden door with a hatchet, and he accidentally chops Victor in the head, killing him. And so this character, Victor Crowley, is a vengeful spirit that um, haunts the area of the swamp that they lived in. Every night he's reborn. So it doesn't matter. Like if you kill him on Tuesday, he's going to be reborn on Tuesday night. Or if you kill him on Tuesday night, he'll be reborn on Wednesday. And he just comes back and he brutally kills anyone who comes into his territory. And that's the premise of this movie. What do you think
Yeah,
about that?
it's a pretty simple premise,
Yeah.
but it works. And I think
Hmm.
Victor Crowley is a cool character. He looks good. He's just he honestly he looks like Jason without the mask. He's just a
Yeah.
big hulking deformed guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk. He just kind of growls and yells. But yeah, and he's brutal. And it's a simple enough premise, but you don't need anything more beyond that. And then we just have a group of people on a tour, like a boat tour of the swamp. The boat crashes. They get off and they're like, "Oh no, we're in Victor Crowley's territory."
Yeah.
And he slowly picks them off one by one throughout the night. Now, I like this movie a lot. I think one of its drawbacks is when it's trying to be funny.
Yeah.
And I don't remember it being so much of a thing, or maybe it was because the comedy was different, but it seems to be like a newer thing where they tried to have different characters try to be funny.
Yeah.
They did have kind of comedic stuff in the 80s, but maybe it wasn't the same. Or I didn't notice it as much. But I hate, especially the tour boat captain guy.
Yeah.
Like he's just so like everything he's saying is just he's being an idiot, trying to be funny. They have all these other characters cracking jokes, and it's just not funny. It was kind of irritating me.
Yeah.
Whenever they got serious and we're doing horror movie, it's like, wow, this is an awesome movie. So it's like just stop trying to be funny. Like it's not. I don't know. I just even in the second one they did not quite as bad, but a little
Yeah.
bit of it. Their stupid jokes kind of take me out of it, and I don't
Mhm.
think they're necessary.
This one, I kind of had to look at it as a product of its time because it was mid 2000s and it was a very mid 2000s movie. To give you an idea, the whole thing starts with a Marilyn Manson song, Marilyn Manson, the song The New Shit, and a Mardi Gras boob flashing scene, montage. So it's like a Girls Gone Wild era thing, where this movie was made. And that's probably what they thought was cool at the time. It's like kind of mid 2000s edgelord stuff and edgelord humor at the same time. So there were a lot of forced, very inappropriate jokes. And like you said, it's not going to be as funny as it would have been then. But I was able to kind of divorce myself from that mindset as the movie progressed. Once it got into the action, I was like, okay, I can forget about all these guys making their crass jokes and talking the way that they do and all that sort of thing, because it really did pick up. To give you an idea of how much of a mid 2000s movie this is, the star is Joel David Moore, that guy who wanted to from Grandma's Boy, who wanted to be a robot. He's the whole star of the whole movie. And where do you see that guy now? You know?
from it's from Dodgeball too. He was
Yeah, he was in Dodgeball.
yeah nerdy
I,
guy Dodgeball.
he was also on Bones. Like he was on that TV show Bones as one of the interns, and he took place in the cringiest television episode of all time, folks. And I'm talking right to the camera now because I want you to know that when James Cameron's first movie, Avatar, his first Avatar movie came out, they did an entire episode of Bones about it when they were all gushing about how wonderful the movie is going to be and how it's going to change everyone's lives and Western civilization is going to be elevated by the movie Avatar. And guess what? That's stupid. And he was one of the characters that was involved in that nonsense. So, yeah. But yeah, A little bit more background on Adam Green. He created a cable TV series called Holliston in 2012. He does seem to be a horror comedy guy because that was a comedy show. It was a half-hour horror comedy sitcom that featured Dee Snider from Twisted Sister and Dave Brockie from Guar playing his Otis Youngest character, which unfortunately, after Dave Brockie died in 2014, the show went on an indefinite hiatus. And I don't know if he's ever come out and said that it's not going to come back, but it's been over 10 years. It's not going to come back at this point in time. And that's
Yeah,
unfortunate. Hmm.
you mentioned the Marilyn Manson song. I noticed
Yeah.
these movies. I haven't seen Victor Crowley yet, the fourth movie,
Yeah.
but this one had the opening song, Marilyn Manson. The next
Yeah.
one is Ministry, and then
Just
the
one
third one is
fix. Yeah.
War. So I was like,
Yeah.
one good thing is like, wow, these movies really have a good soundtrack to them,
Yeah.
especially right at the opening.
Yeah. So like it fits that it's a guy who has musical taste that fit Brandon's in mind. So
Yeah,
so that's pretty good. Like that's a pretty good thing. Another thing is like the very first scene before any of this happens, Robert Englund walks into the screen and you're like, what the hell is Robert Englund doing in this
yeah,
movie? It's by this guy that nobody's ever heard of. Robert Englund and one of the guys from the Blair Witch Project are hunting in the swamp and they get decimated. Like they get absolutely taken apart by a mysterious figure that we don't see. We find out later that it's Victor Crowley, of course, but like when I first watched this movie, I was not expecting Mortal Kombat fatality level kills, and that's what we got here. Like they were crazy.
yeah, yeah. These are like, yeah, this is brutal. It was. I can see. I wonder, is that the main reason these movies became so popular? Because there's a lot of slasher movies that
Yeah,
kind of fell under the radar. These ones, story wise, if you ignore the kills, I don't think they're any more spectacular than a lot of the others.
yeah.
But I think it's just the level of brutality with the kills and the creativeness behind them that maybe that's the reason that these movies were so popular.
I think that it's partially that. I think that it's also partially the humor, maybe not so much in this one, but how it grows over time, because they do get funnier as they go too. And one thing that we're going to talk about as we go forward is Perry Shen, the guy that plays the tour guide that Brandon was talking about before, plays a different character in almost every movie. He's the same one in three and four, but he's a different character. In the first one, he's the tour guide and he's doing a fake Asian accent, like a really, really fake, obvious fake accent. And then the second one, he's that guy's brother and he comes out and says, "Yeah, my brother's accent's fake," you know, because we're from right around here, which was funny. And then he comes back as a different guy in the third one and says, "Wait a minute, you look like this other guy over here." And he says, "What? Just because I'm Asian?" And in reality, it's the same actor, and it's very funny. I thought that was clever, and they do have a lot of callbacks throughout it as well. We'll get into it as we go, but the belt sander comes back in every single iteration of this movie. The belt sander is a constant. I think that there's just a lot of things that he puts together that aren't necessarily funny on their own, but when it's the Saturday Night Live effect, when you just keep calling it back, it gets funnier as you go. If they kept doing it, it would get less funny. But then the Saturday Night Live thing is do it again, and then it comes funny again, right? Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Another thing another thing I really liked about this movie that you mentioned, or I guess in
yeah,
the sequels, we'll get into when we get into that one,
yeah,
is the fact that they pick up right after the second
yeah,
the last one did. And this the first one, I was kind of surprised. It just kind of ended.
yeah,
Like it looked like it ended, and then oh, Victor Crowley's back, and he attacks them again, and then it just kind of stopped.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. I was
You're
like,
like,
yeah,
oh
I
no,
guess
what happened?
there's other movies that do that. I'm like, okay, that was still pretty cool. But the
Yeah,
next movie, it starts off basically like from that same shot. It just
yeah.
continues. It's like you could even put part one, two together into one seamless movie. So I was like, oh, that's pretty
You
cool.
can almost. There's one difference.
Well, yeah, one big difference with the cast.
One big difference, yeah.
And of course, in the first one, they have, as we've seen before, in Friday the 13th, they have the hunter character. There's a young woman who's turns out her dad and brother were
Yeah,
Robert Englund and his son in the
yeah,
opening scene that got killed. She's going back to the swamp to figure out what the hell happened to him because they went hunting out on a boat and were never seen again.
yeah.
So she's there to figure out what happens, and she's the one that knows the history of Victor Crowley. So she
Hmm.
tells the others like, we're in his territory, and
Yeah.
watch out, he's going to kill us all, which kind of makes you wonder why she went back in the first place. But
Yeah.
she did, and then the movie happened.
Yeah. Pretty good too. The reason why these people are on this tour boat run by a ding dong, run by a guy who doesn't know what he's doing, is because they initially tried to go on a tour run by the Reverend Zombie, who's played by Tony Todd, like the Candyman Tony Todd. But he's not allowed to run tours anymore because of liability, because he got sued. So he hands it off to this guy, Sean. And the group that goes on this tour is actually, it's a pretty stacked tour group for the most part. We got Bill Murray's younger brother, Joel, who plays a pornographer who's trying to make a Girls Gone Wild video out there with two models. We've got Joel David Moore and his friend, whose name I cannot remember right now. But he's like the funny black guy, right? And we've got a married couple, and I remember his name this time because remember when we were doing Halloween, and I was like, this security guard is played by this guy, and I should remember what this guy's name is. And he's an older, heavier guy, and he's got a big mustache and stuff. His name is Richard Reel, and he is that guy. So he was in Halloween, Rob Zombie Halloween 2 as the security guard at the hospital. He's in this movie too. Him
And
and his wife.
he was the jump to conclusions Matt guy in Office Space.
Yes, he was that guy too. Um, and so it's these are the people, and then Mary Beth, who is the hunter girl who's on the trip with them. So they're the people who are going on this swamp tour. And I read that initially, Richard Reel and the older couple, the older married couple, were supposed to be racist, but it made them too unlikable. So they made them just like super nice people from Minnesota instead.
Yeah, that's a way better.
Yeah, and I think so too. So, like Brandon said, the boat gets crashed. They all have to disembark. The older guy gets bit by an alligator, and he's kind of injured, and so they have to find out what they're gonna do. So they find the shack, and the shack it's the Crowley shack, and Mary Beth tells the story at this point in time. I told the story already, so it's just what we heard before. It's that Victor Crowley was this deformed kid, and he was accidentally killed by his dad. Now he's a ghost that wanders the swamp, and everybody's like, "What are you talking about? That's stupid. Ghosts aren't real." And then in order to punctuate that, as soon as they're like, yeah, ghosts aren't real, he comes out and he starts and he murders the two old people as they go towards the shack. Like super turbo murders them. And I'm used to putting clips in these videos. I'm going to have to describe the kills here because I can't put this stuff on YouTube and not get in trouble. There are channels out there that put kills, that put really gruesome, gory kills on their YouTube videos and don't get in trouble somehow. No idea how that happens. I'm not going to play with fate. Okay? So, what he does, I wrote it down. He chops right through the old guy, like right directly through him. Okay? And then the woman, the older woman, he grabs her by the jaw and rips her head apart at the jaw joint. It's insane. He like grabs her head, tears it right apart, tears that top part off. I even watched a video on how they did it. It's crazy. They do a little turn, and in when he's doing that turn, they swap the actress out with, and it's one continuous shot. They do a little sneaky jump shot. They do a little sneaky cut there, where he's doing the turn, and they swap her out with a dummy, and then he rips the dummy's head right off.
And you see her tongue flopping around in there and stuff.
Yeah,
It's
it's
pretty gruesome.
gnarly. Everything in this movie is gnarly. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to be able to show you some bits of this movie, but nothing to do with the kills. And this movie is mostly kills towards the end. Just so that you know. What did you think when you saw that stuff?
I was quite surprised. I've seen a lot of slasher movies, and I was like, wow, yeah, they really pushed it here. But it looked so cool. Like
Oh,
they
yeah.
were well done. I mean, ignoring the just the brutality of the violence, like they're actually um, pretty not pretty. They were excellently executed. Like it's like wow, that is
Yeah.
top notch special effects. And I noticed I had not seen this movie before, but I did one of the kills in, Grotesque 2 with where they put the shovel up to someone's head and then stomp on it to cut their head
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
That wasn't Grotesque 2. They just had a bit more money for their version, but yeah, all the kills were cool. They
Yeah.
do start later in the movie. It seemed like there was no boring parts of this movie. It seemed to
Yeah.
get into it quickly, but really the kills, like after the opening scene, they don't really start till like beyond the halfway point.
Yeah, I think it's mostly, I think they start at like the 50-minute mark.
Yeah, it didn't seem like that. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like there's no boring parts, but
Yeah.
once the kills start, it's like it's just nonstop for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. It's nonstop. The pornographer guy tries to run away. He runs directly into Victor Crowley and he turns his head completely around. And then he pulls it off. So he turns his, it completely spins his head around and then rips it off. Um, there's a belt sander kill, and remember the belt sander kills because I was talking because the belt sander keeps coming back. Oh my God, the belt sander. He takes it to one of the model's lower jaw and completely eliminates her lower jaw, and she's not dead. And so she's just like, and she's got nothing here. It's just meat. And it's so crazy. Oh my God. Oh
Yeah,
God.
there was a lot of I was just and as soon as I realized what I was in for, I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god, if they're willing to do that, like what are we in for next? And yeah, they don't let up. It's very very well done. Once they get beyond like the first half of the movie was stupid comedy that was irritating me.
Yeah.
Once I got into the kills, it's like, oh, okay, now I'm like this. I'm like I'm on board for the ride now. Like this
Yeah.
is it's uh it's very very well done.
Yeah. It's like all the best parts of a Friday the 13th movie, but gorier and gnarlier and all packed into like the last 20 minutes of this movie or last half hour of this movie. And it's really good. Everybody dies with the exception of the hunter, Mary Beth, who we don't know if she's dead at the end of this one because, like Brandon said, she is being grabbed by Victor Crowley. He's screaming in her face, and then the movie just ends like that, like just a finger snap. No happy ending. It's Joel David Moore is laying in a boat with his arm ripped off, and he's bleeding out, and she's getting screamed in her face by Victor Crowley. Because they did another cool thing with this one is she gets trapped underwater for for a little bit, and then she's swimming up towards the boat, and then an arm comes down to grab her, and it's Joel David Moore's arm. But as she gets closer, it's Victor Crowley holding the severed arm of that dude to fool her to get her to lure her in, and that was really cool too.
Yeah, yeah, that was quite surprising. I did
Yeah,
think that they were going to both get away for a minute, but no such
yeah.
luck.
So, having watched just this one, like after you watched the first one, what were you like, oh my God, how is there a sequel? What's going on? It must be all new people or something, right?
Yeah, I would like if I had to guess, I would just
Yeah,
assume that the next one was years later, a different
yeah,
group of people come back. They do this in every other slasher movie. That's what I was expecting to happen.
yeah,
I wasn't expecting them to do what they did.
yeah. All right. So, what do you think of this one overall?
I'd give it, I'd say 7.5.
Okay.
Like I would give it higher for the horror killer slasher stuff, the effects.
Hmm.
But I have to like dock it some just for the stupid comedy that just really irritated me. But
Yeah,
it comes together into it's forgivable, and I give it like 7.5 or something. It's definitely a really good movie.
yeah. If I had to rank the last 40 minutes alone, or last half hour, 40 minutes, however long that was alone, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
But as the sum of its parts, I have to give it a 6 overall. The first one, because there is so much mid 2000s nonsense, anti-political correct humor, like just edgy edgelord stuff. Everybody's gross at the beginning. It's like one of the Rob Zombie movies at the beginning.
yeah.
Everybody behaves terribly, you know?
That's a way to put it. Like, is everyone
Yeah,
behaves gross, and I'm just
yeah,
sick of it. It's like they think that like everything's funny. Like, oh,
yeah,
if you're just like huge like misogynistic
yeah,
sexual pervert guy, that's hilarious. They
yeah,
even probably thought, hey, let's have a guy who's super racist. That'll be funny.
yeah,
It's like no, that's not funny. Like it.
yeah,
I'm glad that that's not done as much as it used
yeah,
to be because it's real, especially when they mix that in with just like annoying comedy
yeah,
like especially that boat guy, like everything he says is just obnoxious, and
yeah,
they're like, he's super annoying and loud. He's
yeah.
funny, and it's like, man, no, it's not. Just get rid of all that stuff.
I'm glad that we have stand-up comedians in this day and age, like Ron Funches, who have proven that you can be hilarious without being racist, sexist, or just gross, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, yeah. So I give it a 6. Brandon gives it a 7.5, I believe it was. And that brings us to the end of Hatchet, the first Hatchet. Now we're going to come back to do Hatchet 2. And Hatchet 2, things kind of take off. They kind of ramp up a little bit. There's a lot more added to it, and we'll get into that in the next episode. So please join us then. Remember to subscribe to Brandon versus Movies. Subscribe to me while you're at it. You can hear more conversations like this. I'll give you a little peek at how the sausage is made here. After we're done Hatchet on this channel, we're going to be doing Leprechaun. And Leprechaun's going to be nuts, right? And we're doing Child's Play for Brandon's channel right now, so you can hear all about Chucky and all of his business. And so please subscribe to both of us, enjoy our content, and we'll see you on the next one. Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the 3 Minute Horror Show. I am Ben. I'm your host. You've seen me before. I do lots of these sorts of things. And today we're going to talk about we're going to continue on our Hatchet series. And I'm joined by Edmonton, not Ottawa, Edmonton filmmaker Brandon Reines. He's responsible for the Grotesque series of films, not the gross Japanese one, the cool Canadian ones, and the I'm Haunted series that you can see on Found TV. He's also got a YouTube channel called Brandon versus Movies where we've done collaborations before. We've done lots of them at this point in time, so you've probably seen some of them already. We've done Friday the 13th, we've done Nightmare on Elm Street, we've done Halloween, and we're doing more. And today we're here to talk about Hatchet, specifically Hatchet 2 from 2010. This one was directed by Adam Green, written by Adam Green, and picks up exactly 1 second after the first movie ended, but with one big change. Because Mary Beth is no longer the Mary Beth that was the Mary Beth in the first movie. Now she's Danielle Harris, aka Jamie Lloyd from Halloween. So they did a big swap-a-rooney, but that's fine. What are you gonna do? She's Danielle Harris is a lot better than that other woman. Let me tell you that much. And she comes back in all of these movies, and she's fantastic in all of them. Um, did I already say that this one starts with Just One Fix by Ministry? Because it
No,
does.
I mentioned in the last one,
Yeah.
Ministry plays it, but yeah,
All right.
another great song to open the movie with.
Yep, absolutely. And Victor Crowley is still played by Kane Hodder. He's going to play Victor Crowley through this whole ordeal. And what did you think of this movie?
I thought it was. I saw it for the first time. I hadn't seen any of these movies
Hmm.
before until the last 2 days. I watched to do this review. I still maybe they haven't had enough time to settle to decide which one I like more. My first
Yeah,
impression was I like the first one a little bit more, but I do like elements of the second one a bit more. I think they're very very close. I think it was cool. It's a very similar story. I love the fact that they picked it up like you said 1 second. It basically the movie started with the last shot of the last movie, which was Victor Crowley grabbing Mary Beth and yelling in her face,
yeah,
and then it cut. Now it
yeah,
starts with that exact thing. A lot of these movies, they do a sequel, it'll end kind of like that on a little bit of a cliffhanger,
yeah,
and then it jumps ahead a few years, and then it doesn't satisfy you with what happened, and sometimes it changes things. And this one, I'm glad that they just have the courage to be like, let's just keep going, start
yeah,
right there, and it's like whoa, and so she manages to escape,
yeah,
and it was nice to see Danielle Harris. Nothing against the other Mary Beth from the other movie, but
yeah,
Danielle Harris is an important character. I don't care what anyone says
yeah,
in the horror world and Halloween series. I like part 4 and 5, so it's kind of cool to see her. She's obviously an adult now, and she's a really good actor. And these movies are known for their horror cameos, so it was good to see that. And it was good to see Tony Todd instead of being in one 2 minute scene. He's actually a main character in the whole movie.
yeah,
So that was kind of cool too. But yeah, this was I'd say it's a damn good movie.
yeah. I agree with you on this one, and I like they kind of took a beat from the first one in the respect that they start with some gnarly kill. They start with a gnarly kill, and then they kind of take the backbeat for a little while and build a little bit more story, and then come back for like the climax where everybody gets murdered in the end. This one starts off with a one-eyed swamp man rescues Mary Beth from Victor Crowley, from the clutches of Crowley. But as soon as he hears her name, he's like, "Oh no, you got to get out. You got to leave right now." And it turns out that the reason why is because she is a Dunstan, and the Dunstans are persona non grata in this area of the swamp because her father was one of the guys who tormented Victor Crowley and shot bottle rockets into the house to set it on fire. So he's one of the bullies that ended up getting Victor Crowley killed. So he's, I guess, one of the contributing factors to this ongoing curse, or the reason why he's haunting the swamp continually. So he sends her packing. She's gone. She's out of there. She's maybe it's because of that, and maybe it's because of what her father did, or maybe it's because of the movie Dunstan Checks In, and everybody hates that movie, and so they said, "Dunstans, you gotta go. You're done." But either way, it's good that she leaves because seconds after she leaves, Victor Crowley arrives and strangles this dude so hard with his own guts that his head pops off, which is crazy. Your guts can't do that.
I don't think it's anatomically possible. I think the guts would rip, but
Yeah.
it was still a pretty cool kill.
It's a pretty cool kill. But then that's the one kill that we're going to get for a while now because Mary Beth finds her way back to Tony Todd, back to the Reverend Zombie, to hold him accountable for what happened in the swamp. First of all, she's going to tell him that his ship is his boat's still there, but she's also going to tell him what happened. And he tells her the real backstory of Victor Crowley, which is what we heard before, but there's more. There's more to this backstory. Apparently, Victor Crowley um, is not. So Victor Crowley's mother is not the wife of Victor Crowley's father. So Victor Crowley's wife, or Victor Father Crowley, let's call him Father Crowley because I don't remember what his real name was. Father Crowley, his wife had terrible, terrible stomach cancer, and she's dying. And she had this nurse who was coming in to take care of her. And Father Crowley boned down big time with this nurse, and he got her pregnant. And Victor, she was going to have the baby, and as part of her dying breath, the mother who was dying of stomach cancer cursed the maid or cursed the nurse and cursed the baby that he would never be that he would be disfigured and he would be cursed and he she put some sort of voodoo curse on them and instantly the nurse dropped dead, which was crazy. But then Victor Crowley was born, and so I guess that's when the curse started. The curse that caused him to be reborn. I don't know. It's weird because I mean he didn't get killed until later. Who knows? But so that's the real story. Um, and then it kind of shows a flashback of over the years previous. So like it's not now, but it showed him in a flashback sequence killing a bunch of fishermen and stuff. I guess when he was a younger Victor Crowley ghost after he had come back. Um, what did you think of that part?
I don't remember that part.
When he was killing a bunch of fishermen? Wasn't that a flashback or was that now?
I don't weird. I don't remember that part at all. That's
He was killing, like, he killed Shawn Ashmore from the X-Men movies. He took one guy's head, he split one guy's head in half war style, and then one guy gets his lower jaw pulled right off. I
got
think
that
it was
part.
just a flashback from when he was in like the in-between time.
Hmm.
But I could be
Cool.
wrong because yeah. So the Reverend Zombie decides that he wants to try and end the curse, and he's going to do that by putting a team together to go fetch his boat out of the swamp. And at the same time, he offers this team of people that he puts together $5,000 to bring back the head of Victor Crowley. But he's got a secret agenda because he invites the two other guys that were the kids that were shooting bottle rockets into that house. And he gets Mary Beth to invite her uncle as well. So you got Dunstan blood, you got the two other guys that did the thing that caused Victor Crowley's death. And so his plan, his secret plan, is to sacrifice these three old guys to Victor Crowley so that the curse will be lifted. Because that's what he thinks that will lift the curse. Nobody really knows what'll lift the curse because this sort of thing is nonsense, right? But it makes as much sense as anything else in any other horror movie that we watch where they're trying to lift curses, right? Like, oh, if Michael Myers kills the last Myers relative, then he'll be gone forever or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I don't know why Reverend Zombie believed this. I don't know if he
Yeah.
just thought this up in his head and figured like, hey, maybe that would work, or if did he read this in a book or something? Like how it's just all of a sudden he knows this. It's like
Yeah.
how would you know this thing? And why didn't you try it before? But whatever, they're trying it now.
And he's not a real reverend, and he's not a real voodoo guy, so who knows how he got any of these
And he's not a real
ideas.
zombie.
Yeah, he's not a real zombie either. He's just Tony Todd. He might be a real candy man, but I didn't see a hook for a hand, so I don't know. Or any bees. No bees.
And funny enough, the three guys that he lures to take part of his team, who are the
Yeah.
three boys, one of them is Mary Beth, the main character's uncle, and he's played, can't remember his name, but by the director of Child's Play. Um,
Oh, was he?
yeah, just let
By
let
Tom Holland, not the Spider-Man.
yeah, it is Tom Holland. Yeah,
Okay. So, yeah, one of the so Mary Beth's uncle is played by Tom Holland, the guy that not the Spider-Man guy, the old guy that directed the first Child's Play movie. Other people that come along on this thing are once again Perry Shen, like I mentioned. He plays a character through in every movie. In this one, he is Sean from the first movie's brother Justin. His accent is gone because the accent was fake, and so he's joining them on the crew, as well as Colton Dunn from Superstore. He's there too. He's very funny. He's very
and I
funny.
must say about the brother character,
Yeah,
he was the guy I hated the most in the first movie. So I was like, okay, at least he's dead. At least we don't have to deal with him anymore. And then, oh, great, he's back again playing a different guy, but also annoying. I don't think he was quite as bad in this. When he was doing that French accent, it kind of pissed me off. But after that, he wasn't as bad.
yeah, yeah. So he's not. Yeah, he's not as bad in this one. Colton Dunn from Superstore is there. He when they're on their boat on their way there, when they're heading out to the swamp area, he sings a very funny song about biscuits and gravy that I am going to put right into the video here so you can enjoy it. And that's where I'll put the video of biscuits and gravy. Um, there are also uncredited cameos in this movie by Lloyd Kaufman. I don't remember seeing him,
Oh,
but apparently he was there.
weird. Yeah, I don't remember
Yeah.
that either.
Marcus Dunstan as well, who is the guy who created The Collector and The Collected, that series of movies.
Okay.
Yeah, and who's going to be coming back with The Collector, The Collection, and The Collected is the one that's going to be coming out soon.
Huh.
So he's in this one, and another uncredited cameo by Cody Blue Snyder, who is the son of Dee Snyder, who plays the young version of Mary Beth's father, who's tormenting young Victor Crowley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's lots of uncredited cameos in these movies too. So if you ever get a chance, if you watch the movie, go check out the IMDb and see all of the people who you may have missed, and then go back and watch the movie again and see if you can catch them.
Yeah, I'll have to do that.
Yeah. Um, when night falls, so these guys are going out for their little hunt, for their little Victor Crowley hunt, and everybody's having a great old time until night falls. Because when night falls, Victor Crowley comes back. And there are so many gnarly kills. Like, I'm talking crazy stuff. Again, I cannot put clips of these in the video. There's a guy who gets his face held into the boat motor of a boat, and then his head gets pulled up, and he's just got a big blank, gaping red maw where his face used to be. That's crazy. He kills Justin, the Sean's brother, the guy who came back to replace his brother, I guess, with the belt sander. This belt sander is pretty crazy. He sands the top of this guy's skull right off, so you see sanded brain. That's pretty gross. He gets lifts two guys with the world's largest chainsaw. Okay, so I've seen a large chainsaw. I
Yeah,
saw a
this
large
one
chain.
this one was like 18 feet long.
Yeah. There's a very large chainsaw in the Leatherface movie, in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel, Leatherface. Very large chainsaw that says family on the side of it. This chainsaw puts that chainsaw to shame. This is the biggest chainsaw that I've ever seen. And he lifts two men, one of them is Colton Dunn, entirely by their gooch on this chainsaw and cuts them in half in the air so that their two pieces fall apart, each one of these two guys. It's crazy. What did you think about some of these kills?
Yeah, they were pretty brutal. The chain, so funny with the chainsaw because they had a shot where you see just the saw part of the chainsaw come into the frame
Yeah.
and it's like moving through, and then you don't even see the end of it. It just keeps moving. Then they even cut away to like someone's reaction shot. Then they cut back to that shot, and the chainsaw is still moving. It's like enormous. Yeah, there was a lot of gnarly kills. There was one where there was like a man and a woman that had a history, and
Yeah.
they're having sex doggy style, and Victor Crowley chops the dude's head off,
Uh-huh.
but the guy's body just continues going, and the woman's loving every second of it, even though he's just spasming because he's headless. Yeah, there's no shame in these kills. They go all to they go balls to the wall with them.
He delivers a curb stomp so vicious that the top of the head, the guy's head pops off. Like it pops off here, and then you see that bit of his head on the table, and his eyes are still blinking.
It like slides across the table, and yeah, yeah.
It's gnarly stuff.
It's honestly it's
Rev yeah,
the funnest part of making like grotesque when I do those movies is
yeah,
coming up with the kills.
hmm
I'm always limited by we have like 100th the budget that the
yeah,
Hatchet
for
movies had.
sure.
So there's things I'm like, this would be cool, but I don't know if we could do it. So we always have to hold back a bit. But that is fun. It's just like, what's a possible kill, and then it's how do you make it that gruesome? So yeah, this movie they got to have a lot of fun doing that stuff.
Yeah, I bet. It's funny too because I guess there's a podcast, the guys that did the effects for these movies, not all of them, of course, because I think the main guy passed away not too long ago. But some of the guys that worked on the effects for these movies started following me on Facebook
Oh,
a
nice.
couple of days ago. Like it's kind of um, kismet, or it's very it's strange luck that these guys just started following me on Facebook, uh, and we're starting this series about Hatchet 2 days later.
Yeah,
It's kind of neat. I haven't listened to the podcast yet. I will because it would be nice to hear some of the background stories of how they did this sort of thing. Pretty gnarly stuff. Reverend Zombie gets pulled directly out of his skin, so he all of a sudden becomes Uncle Frank from Hellraiser, and it's a different actor that plays him too. It's pretty funny. That plays the
yeah.
skinless.
I don't know if anatomically that would be possible, but who
No.
cares? It was, but that was a pretty good twist. Spoiler alert for
Yeah.
anyone watching this: watch the movie first. But uh, Reverend Zombie, his whole plan was, hey, let's bring back these three guys who, as
Yeah.
young boys, they're the ones that caused Victor Crowley to die. If he can get
Yeah.
revenge against them, the curse is lifted. But after he's like, hey, it worked. All these guys are dead. And then he points the gun at Mary Beth, like, I'm going to kill the last witness to all of this.
Yeah.
And then she's like, by the way, that guy is not my real uncle. He's just
Yeah.
like a family friend we called uncle. My real uncle died of cancer like years ago. And then Reverend Zombie's like, oh shit. So my plan didn't work. And then, yeah, and then Victor Crowley comes and kills him in the worst way.
That is an interesting thing that I didn't think about. When she says that her real uncle died of cancer, when her real uncle pops up in the next movie. No, it's not her real uncle. It's Victor Crowley's uncle. Got it. Got it.
Oh, almost discovered a
Never
plot hole.
mind. Spoilers for the next episode.
I haven't seen the third one yet, so I'll be seeing that one.
Okay. Yeah, so the spoilers for you. I just spoiled it. Haha. No, you'll
I
see.
did I did see the beginning of it because I'm a big Guar fan,
Yeah.
and I saw the opening part where they're playing Hail Genocide.
Yeah.
I saw that when it came out, but I'll be watching it for the first time soon.
Yeah. So yeah, these movies again are pretty nuts. I really liked this one. I thought it was a fantastic sequel. I did really dig the fact that they picked up the second after the last one left off. And another spoiler for the next one, they pick up a second after this one ends as well. This one ends with Mary Beth seemingly getting the better of Victor Crowley. She pretty much destroys his head with his hatchet.
And then
She
shoots
go,
him,
sorry?
and then she shoots him on top of that.
Yeah. She goes to town, she mangles his head with this hatchet, and then she shoots what's left of the head with the shotgun. So you think, okay, this movie is done, right? Well, no, because when it picks up in number three, things get even wilder. And there's a number three. And there's also number four. So, Brandon, what would you give this movie overall?
I'd probably give it the same 7.5 as the last one. I
Okay.
think I gave that one. It's like in certain ways it's better, certain ways it's not. I do like the fact that they found a good reason to get a whole bunch of more people to go back here. Like we just see a whole bunch of bodies to get killed, basically. So they
Yeah.
found a good reason. Let's get a bunch of hunters together that come back, and it was good. That there was parts of this one that were very dark. I
Okay.
didn't notice that in the first one. The first one was all night, but there
Yeah.
was parts in this one that just seemed too dark. I just
Oh.
kind of noticed it
Mhm.
where I didn't notice it in the first one, so it might have just been lighting changes. Very minor criticism,
Yeah.
but overall, like it was very similar to the first one. It's not like some of the Friday the 13th where between movies it's like this is a different style, different
Yeah.
like this one. It was very similar to the first movie, so I'd give it a 7.5. I think same as the first.
All
How
right.
about you?
Wait, let me just tell you. Wait until you see the reason that they get all sorts of people to go back there in number three.
Ah,
I give this one an 8 out of 10. I thought that they got rid of a lot of the mid 2000s edgelordy nonsense. A lot of that just crass humor for no reason was gone, and the comedy in there was actually I found it kind of funnier. Like Colton Dunn's character, the biscuits and gravy song that they will be including in this video is very funny. Completely out of nowhere. Don't know why they put it in, other than maybe he was just singing that on the boat and they decided to film it because it was funny. It's just I really liked I liked the change in tone, and maybe it's the maturity of the filmmaker too, because he was probably a really young guy in the first one when he did like 2005 2006 when the first Hatchet came out. 5 years is a long time when you're a young fella. I mean, you can do a lot of maturing in that time, and maybe that's what happened with Adam Green. And he came back, had a new outlook on some things. Maybe he had some life changes, and it felt a lot stronger and a lot less just like a Girls Gone Wild video at the beginning. And
yeah.
yeah. hmm So that brings us to the end of talking about Hatchet 2. Please join us next time for Hatchet 3. It's going to be lots of fun. The next two movies are nuts. You may think, okay, these first two movies were nuts. The next two movies are nuts. The kill count in number three is friggin' ridiculous. All right. And I know Brandon likes a high kill count in these movies, so you're going to love this one. All right. So, folks, remember to subscribe to Brandon's channel, Brandon versus Movies. Subscribe to my channel while you're at it. You can hear more conversations like this where we break down these films, talk about what we liked, what we didn't like. We have a lot of fun making them. It seems like you guys have a lot of fun watching them. So, we hope that you enjoy this one, and we hope you come back for the next one. And we'll see you next time. Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the 3 Minute Horror Show. I'm back with Brandon Reines, Edmonton filmmaker, creator of the Grotesque and the I Am Haunted series, and the host of the Brandon vs. Movies YouTube channel. We have been doing the Hatchet series on my channel, and we're picking up again today with Hatchet 3 from 2013. So we've done Hatchet 1, we've done Hatchet 2, we're doing Hatchet 3 now, and then we're going to do Victor Crowley after that, and then this series is going to be over. It's a shorter series. After this one, we're going to do Leprechaun. Right now, we're doing Child's Play on Brandon's channel. It's lots of fun. We get into some pretty wacky stuff. But today we're going to talk about Hatchet 3. And if you've been with the Hatchet series so far with us, you know that there's only so much we can talk about. We're going to talk about some stuff, but when it comes to kills, I can certainly not show you the kills, but I can describe some highlights at the end of the video. So stay tuned all the way to the end to hear some highlights of some pretty notable kills and hear about some freaky stuff. Brandon, what did you think about Hatchet 3? You're a first time watcher, from what I understand.
Yeah, this is my first exposure to this
Mhm.
series at all, so it was my first time seeing each one of them. I love the fact that part two took place immediately after part one, like not like later in the day. It was like the next second,
Yeah,
and I love the fact that part three took place immediately after part two. So you could almost watch part one, two, and three as one long ass movie.
yeah, if you have
I really
time.
liked it. This one had a lot of great kills. Like
Yeah,
it's like I honestly like in all of horror movies, all of slasher movies, the Hatchet movies might be the top of brutal kills. So that was pretty cool. Uh, and I did like Hatchet 3. It's just something about it. It's kind of like, okay, now we've seen this twice before,
Hmm.
and there's nothing really fresh about it, which is okay. Like, it's not necessarily bad. It's just, there's nothing to be like, whoa, this one's even better. It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of the same as Hatchet 2. It's got some cool stuff. It was enjoyable to watch. It just, you could see it's like the tanks running out of gas kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if they had made like seven more of these, it'd be like,
Oh
okay.
yeah. It'd be done. Yeah.
It was all like pretty much all at night, all in the same location, just dark swamp. But they kind of used the swamp like less than they did in the first movie. Um, but overall, it was okay. We got some new stuff here. We this one, it's like the police and the like the ambulance crews are showing up to the slaughter from the first two movies to deal with it. And there's also a side story where Danielle Harris's character has been locked up, and stupidly, the cops think that she somehow murdered like 40 men on her own. Um, but anyways, they suspect her, so she's locked up. And then we introduce a new character who's like a expert on Victor Crowley, and she has an idea of how they could defeat him for good.
Yeah.
So she breaks Daniel Harris out of the jail, and they're trying to go around and defeat Victor Crowley while Victor Crowley is going around and killing this new batch of cops and paramedics that have shown up.
So yeah, this one has the highest body count of any of them so far, for sure. Lots of people get killed in it. It again picks up, like Brandon said, exactly the second that the last one left off. Danielle Harris is still, or Mary Beth is still in the middle of fighting Victor Crowley. He just keeps getting back up. She's already pulverized his head with the hatchet and shot the remains with a shotgun, but it just keeps getting back up. Finally, she knocks him back, so he lands taint first. He lands perineum first on that big ass chainsaw, and it splits him right in half. And this appears to kill him. Now, she's probably thinking that he's actually dead because they did the thing where the uncle was there. The no, she didn't because her it wasn't actually her uncle. So she knows that he's going to come back either way. But I don't know if she's quite sure because she takes a chunk full of his head and she starts walking back to towards New Orleans with a shotgun in hand and a chunk of head in hand, and nobody stops her along the way. And she's going from the swamp to New Orleans. That's fine, I guess. But while that's happening, we get to hear Guar Hail to Genocide. So that's a fun song.
Yeah,
We like that. Now we're introduced to some new characters. The first is the sheriff of whatever parish it is that she's walking towards, and he's Billy Peltzer from Gremlins. So he's the star of Gremlins from the 80s. I can't remember the name of the Zach Galligan. That's his name. It just
yeah,
came to me as in a second there. Zach Galligan has an ex-wife, and she is the character that Brandon mentioned. She's a reporter who's an expert on Victor Crowley because she's done exposés on the mysterious Crowley murders that have happened throughout the years in that area of the swamp, the disappearances, the grisly murders. And she is played by Caroline. Did I write it down? Caroline Williams from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. So she was Stretch, the radio host in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
okay.
So she's another throwback horror character. And there are a few more in this movie too. Lots of fun. But eventually, Adam Green walks by the camera too. He's a drunk in the police station. So been the same drunk character come back 3 times now. Um, Mary Beth walks into a police station with a shotgun in hand and a chunk of somebody's head in the other hand, saying that they're all dead and that she killed them. And so naturally, all the cops go ballistic, right? And she is thrown into a cell. She's arrested and thrown into a cell. And as Brandon mentioned, she is blamed for all of these murders because, first of all, when there's smoke, you got to go see if there's fire where they say there's smoke. So the sheriff sends a couple of deputies out to go look at the area of the swamp that Mary Beth is talking about, and yes, they find kills. They find all sorts of body parts and bodies everywhere. And one thing that I want to mention that I found very impressive about this movie is the fact that there was lots of continuity. So the bodies that they found were in the state that they were left in the previous movies. So if somebody was turned twisted inside out, they found that person twisted inside out in the swamp. I thought that was really cool. Really good attention to
Yeah, I
detail.
like that how they because it kind of reminded you. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that kill, and
Yeah,
they had just like the top half of that one guy's head after he got his
exactly.
head stomped against the table, and it's like,
Yeah,
oh okay, it's reminding me of all that. It's like, yeah, they took the time because these movies that they're in real life there was time like years between them, but in movie world it's
yeah,
been like a couple hours, so it's like, oh yeah, everything is exactly as it was
yeah.
how we saw it. So yeah, that was a pretty cool detail.
There were more than 10 years between one and three.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit of time. Pretty cool. So they determined that yes, there is something here that needs to be investigated. So they call in the medical examiner, and the medical examiner has a boat that they take out into the swamp. They bring in a bunch of EMTs and paramedics, and they bring in a bunch of firefighters as well. And one of the EMTs is played by Perry Shen, who's played two different characters in the previous films that Brandon didn't like because they were comedy characters. He's still kind of a comedy character, but he's a little bit less. And I like the way they introduced him because one of the paramedics was handling a body of one of these two brothers from before the Perry Shen played and said, "Hey, he kind of looks like you." And the guy said, and Perry Shen's character Andrew says, "What, 'cause I'm Asian?" And really, it's because it's the same actor.
It's the
And I
exact same.
thought that was very funny. And the ME is played by another horror mainstay, Sean Whalen, who is in The People Under the Stairs as the guy with the bad teeth. Bug, I believe his name was, in The People
Oh,
Under
okay.
the
Oh,
Stairs.
okay. Yeah, that's where I know him from.
Yeah, he's in all sorts of stuff, Sean
Roach.
Whalen.
Roach.
Roach, there you go. Yeah, and he was in he was the guy who died in the wall in Superstore.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, so he's been in lots of the two Superstore people because they had the one guy, Colton Dunn from Superstore in number two.
Ah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they have similar casting people. I don't know. Yeah, so what did you think about this part? I thought that it was very well done. I thought it was clever.
Yeah, I thought I didn't find Andrew is his name.
Yeah,
Sherry Penn is or Perry Shen.
Perry
I
Shen.
did
Yeah,
not find him annoying in this.
yeah,
Like the first movie, oh, I almost turned it off because of him.
yeah,
It's almost like they finally got him right. It's like, let's stop making this guy annoying as hell,
yeah,
and he's actually like tolerable. And it did make sense. Like if there was this massive murder, like there would be like people going out there to deal with the bodies.
yeah, for
So
sure.
the story was not contrived. It was not a let's figure out another way for a bunch of people to stupidly go to this area where this kills. It actually kind of made sense, and it was kind of like Friday the 13th Part 4, where they take Jason's body, they assume he's dead, they take his body back to
Yeah,
the coroner's office or whatever. Then he escapes and kills everyone there. So they have it on this boat, and of course, Victor Crowley revives himself,
as soon as
and
night falls.
yeah, he goes on this rampage again.
Yeah, so the first guy to get it is the ME because he's got Victor Crowley's body behind him in a body bag. And he takes a really nasty kill. I'll describe it a little bit later. I'm going to put a little cliffhanger in there for the people. For the next two videos, you can hear about all the notable kills right at the end. Holy
Okay,
moly.
so we won't give
Oh, we can kind of for some of them.
maybe we could just say it was shocking.
Yeah, it was shocking. Yeah, exactly. It was shocking. Shocking kill. That's your teaser. But guess what else was in that ME boat that keeps coming back? The angle grinder. Or sorry, the belt sander.
The belt sander, yeah, they
So
they,
the
they
belt
mentioned
sander
that.
comes back again. So Victor Crowley comes to life and he starts turbo murdering the shit out of everyone that he finds in typical Kane Hodder-esque manner, like the way that he moves and all of that, just going from one guy to the next. Meanwhile, Stretch, Caroline Williams, the ex-wife of the sheriff, is in the jail cell, or not in the jail cell, but in the jail, trying to convince Mary Beth to help, to tell her about what happened. Tell her the story, tell her what she saw, but she's not participating at all. She's not helping, she's not doing anything um, until they start to hear over the radio that all of these guys are, you can hear them on the one cop that's in the room with them. You can hear them on the radio getting gargling and choking on their own blood and all sorts of stuff. You're going to hear that Victor Crowley's at it again, and Mary Beth does not like that very much.
Yeah, it's it seems like each movie they're coming up with a new like way to defeat him.
Yeah,
Like the last one was like, oh, the uncle or whatever, and that whole thing, and now it's like, oh, we have to find Victor Crowley's dad's ashes
yeah,
or return the body to him somehow.
yeah,
And it's kind of like, okay, obviously they're just making this up to have a storyline, and it's fine. But
yeah.
all of a sudden, it's like, oh, and the person that has to deliver it has to be a descendant of the bullies or whatever. It's kind of like, okay, it's starting to remind me of Jason Goes to Hell, where it's like, why would it have to be someone from that bloodline? But
I
it's like,
think
forget it. That's what the storyline is. So they have to set out to get ashes. So they go to this guy who has the ashes. And shit, I forget his name. Captain
Sid
Spaulding.
Haig, Sid
Sid
Haig.
Haig.
Yeah,
Of course, Sid Haig, who's the guy that owns the house, and they have to trick him into getting the ashes. And I have to say, I love Sid Haig.
yeah.
I hated that. It's probably my least favorite scene in the movie. It has to devolve to a bunch of like racist jokes
Yeah.
and everything. I just didn't like that scene.
Sid Haig's character is supposed to be the uncle of Victor Crowley, and he is a virulent racist, and he's deaf. And Sid Haig's a very funny guy, and he delivered the lines in, I guess, a funny way. But he's also, I, I don't like to speak ill of the dead. Rest in peace, Sid Haig. But he was a funny looking guy.
Yeah,
Like he was just a weird looking guy. But yeah, it was a hard scene to watch. Because they had a black cop with them, and he was just a racist old man. But it is funny. I think they were kind of poking fun at that trope of the rules that get made up about how to defeat the bad guy when he's a supernatural bad guy. Because they do the same thing with Michael Myers, and they did the same with Freddy Krueger as well as Jason Voorhees, where they make up all these stupid rules about, oh no, you have to, you know, burn his bones at midnight, and that's the only way to defeat him. And it's just people making shit up all the time about how
yeah,
this works. Um, but yeah, while that's happening, while they're going off and getting the ashes of Victor Crowley's father so that they can return the ashes to him. Um, Meanwhile, Zach Galligan's character, the sheriff, has called in the SWAT team, and the SWAT team arrive, and then we get another guy who is from horror, from previous horror films. It's Derek Mears. He's the head of the SWAT team, and he played Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th remake. He's a really big, bald guy. He's a really scary looking guy.
kind of an
And
asshole too.
yeah, super asshole in this movie. Holy crap. So now they've got some cops, they've got some SWAT guys, and they've got some what's left of the paramedics too, who are going out together trying to contain this Victor Crowley threat. And one of the cops there too is Cody Blue Snyder, who is Dee Snyder's son.
Oh, I don't know.
He played young Mary Beth Dunstan's older father in the last movie when he was a little guy. And now he's 20 something. And so he's playing one of the cops. He is the cop that is totally afraid. His name is like Schneiderman, which is a play on Snyder.
Yeah,
And he is absolutely not wanting to be in that swamp one little bit. He is a huge coward and he's always trying to run away. And Derek Mears keeps threatening to beat him up or kill him. And because nobody leaves the mission. But yeah, um, those guys, Mary Beth and Stretch, I can just call her Stretch, are getting the ashes. These guys are getting murdered by Victor Crowley all over the place. Cody Blue Snyder pulls the fucking rocket launcher out, goes to blow up Victor Crowley, completely misses. And do you recall who he hits?
the paramedic guy, right?
The paramedic guy who is next to Joel David Moore's character from the first movie, who is still laying in a boat with
Oh, that yeah, yeah.
bleeding out with from his arm that was ripped off. And this is 2 days later, so he should have been dead by this point. But he says, "You got to be kidding me," and then gets blown up because he
Got to be.
survived all that shit.
Yeah, that was. It was not plausible at all, but it was a fine, funny nod. It was like, oh, the guy from the first movie. Okay, yeah.
It was pretty funny, but then pretty much the whole SWAT team gets annihilated after that. Um, the only three that survive are the lady from the SWAT team, Perry Shen's paramedic character, and the sheriff himself. and then that's when while that's happening, that's when they go and get the ashes.
And
Um,
I like that scene with the three of them trapped in the boat,
yeah, that was cool.
and it was kind of well done. It was kind of suspenseful. Because Victor Crowley's obviously lurking around the boat,
Yeah,
trying to get in, but they're locked in this boat. It's got like metal walls. He can't get in. Then all of a sudden he's banging, trying to get in, and all of a sudden there's like silence, and they're like, oh, maybe he left.
yeah,
And then shortly after they hear like some sort of tool starting up, and then it's like, oh shit, he's got some kind of like grinder, like metal cutter, and he starts trying to cut through the wall, and he eventually cuts a hole, and he's like reaching in, and he manages to kill two of them
yeah.
just by like reaching
Just
in,
by
and
the
they're trying to
hole.
get the
Yeah.
gun and reaches through this hole, and
The girl gets her guts ripped out too through
yeah,
that jagged hole. That was pretty gross. But
very
yeah,
gruesome.
so then the only survivor is the paramedic character played by Perry Shen. His name's Andrew. You keep calling him Perry Shen, but it's Andrew. Um, the big confrontation happens after this because Andrew meets up with the other group, who is the cop that was at the station with them, Mary Beth, and Stretch. And there's a big confrontation where Mary Beth is trying to hand Victor Crowley the ashes. And it looks like he's coming for them. It looks like, oh my God, maybe this is gonna work. Maybe this will be the end of this ghost. But the cop thinks that he's attacking and starts shooting. And that makes Victor Crowley mad. And so Victor Crowley kills this guy, kills Stretch, and then it's just him and Mary Beth. And meanwhile, Andrew is pissed off. He's like, gotta go, and he's running through the swamp. But you think that Danielle Harris is going to die here because he picks her up and throws her against a tree, and she gets impaled by a big tree branch. Looks pretty bad, but she manages to get herself off of that, throw the ashes in his face, and then blow him up with a SWAT weapon.
Well, the ashes like make him melt. He melts
Yeah,
until he's
he melts,
like a skeleton kind of thing,
and
and
then
then
she
she
blows
blows
up
that
the
up.
remains.
Yeah.
And holy shit, it looks like Caroline Williams' character, the Stretch's character, had it right in the first place. And that's the way you kill this guy. Holy smokes.
Now they did leave it. I because we'll find out in the next one,
Yeah.
Victor Crowley, that the only survivor was Perry Shen.
Yeah.
But they leave this one. It looks like they left it open ended as to whether Mary Beth lived or died.
Mm.
Like she had a bad wound. Like she had a
Yeah.
massive tree branch. It looks like no way she could survive. But the
Hmm.
thing is, the helicopters are coming in, and the movie ends with her kind of like breathing her last breaths.
Yeah.
She's like, and then it cuts to black, and then it cuts back for one last, and then
Yeah.
it cuts to credits. So I can't tell, is that like she took her last breath and she's dead? Because that's what it looked like in the next movie. But she also, her eyes are open. She's not. I think they want it to be open ended,
Yeah.
but she's not. Do they mention in the next one? I can't remember what happened to her. So I think maybe she did die.
Oh, I
Or
think you might have missed a cutscene.
again, again. Okay, enlighten
Okay.
me.
But that's a spoiler for the next movie. So if you haven't watched the next movie, close your ears that you didn't hear that part, folks. Okay, so notable kills. This is the part that everybody wants to hear. Okay? They've heard us talk about the movie, and now we're going to talk about some notable kills. Sean Whalen, the medical the medical examiner. It was a shocking kill indeed because he had his brain fried with heart defibrillators, and Victor Crowley wasn't just satisfied with frying his brain. He took the defibrillators afterwards and crushed his head with them afterwards. It's like zap, 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 blah, like that. One of the cops has his head split down the middle with the hatchet, bloop, bloop, like that. I'm acting them out too as we go. More fun that way, I guess. One of the cops gets chopped a bunch of times in the back with a hatchet and then gets torn in half right after that. So just chop, 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 rip. And I'm not even counting the people who just got stabbed or their arms cut off or whatever, because there was a lot of that too. These are the
There
most
was a
notable.
lot of limbs ripped off in this movie.
Yeah, for sure. Derek Mears, the SWAT guy. Okay, this one's crazy. He has his skull and spine ripped out of his stomach, and then his body just is kind of meat after that when there's no bone structure in there, and so he just kind of blew up. So his meat just kind of meats. Okay, Cody Blue Snyder has a flaming piece of wood jammed into his back, his guts ripped out, And then he gets his face stomped into a mud puddle and drowns in the mud puddle. Stretch gets her head ripped off. And those were some of the more notable ones. Those are the ones that weren't just like limbs getting ripped off or getting, your head chopped or something like that. These were the ones that were actually gross set pieces. But yeah, pretty
I
gnarly
think
movie overall.
I think one of the most notable ones is
Yeah,
right at the very beginning when you mentioned earlier when Victor Crowley falls backwards onto the chainsaw.
yeah,
So it starts like coming up through his crotch, and then the top starts like as his weight is sinking onto it,
yeah,
it starts coming up like out his chest or his head or whatever, and so he's
yeah.
like slowly sinking through the saw, and then eventually he's like split in half. So yeah, they didn't hold back with the effects in there. Like I say, this is
Oh
probably,
yeah,
regardless of whether or not you like the movies themselves, like the kills are like top notch for slasher
yeah.
movies.
Have you ever seen the Laid to Rest movies? There are only two of them. There was going to be a third, but the guy who made them died, unfortunately. They're trying to kickstart, I think, the third one to make his vision, but they're also known as like the Chrome Skull movies. Those ones are like on par with Hatchet for brutality of kills and practical effects. So that might be one you want to look at afterwards. Laid to Rest
What
and
do you
Laid to
call
Rest
it again?
2. Laid to Rest and Laid to Rest 2, Chrome Skull's Revenge, I believe it is.
What are they like? What era are they? Fairly new.
Around here, so around
Oh,
mid 2000s. Yeah.
okay, sweet.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit more recent, but yeah. Really good stuff. What would you rate this movie overall?
Oh, I have to go six. Like I
Yeah.
did, I liked it. It's just after seeing the first two, it's like yeah, it's kind of the same as the first two, just more of the same, slightly different.
Yeah.
But it was still cool to watch. Like so, yeah, I'd say maybe even 6.5 or 6.25 around there.
I gave this one a seven. I liked how it felt like that could be the end of it. It wasn't in the end, and it turns out that Victor Crowley that movie was a surprise that people didn't know that that one was going to come out. But I thought it was really cool. I thought that the kills were some of the most creative that we've seen. The Derek Mears one was super gross, where he pulled out his whole
Yeah,
skeletal structure, and then he just kind of collapsed in on himself. Seeing that big guy go down like that, seeing Cody Blue Snyder's character get kind of the Schneiderman, the whiner, getting stomped in the end was pretty funny. But yeah, Perry Shen's character was good in this one. He was a believable character in the respect that he just wanted to get the hell out of there because that's what I would do.
yeah,
I'm gonna run. I'm not gonna hang around and try and fight this guy. I'm out of there like last
yeah,
year. All right. Yeah, I gave this one a 7 out of 10.
yeah. Makes sense.
Mhm. All right, folks, that brings us to the end of Hatchet 3. Please join us next time for Victor Crowley, aka Hatchet 4. They called it Victor Crowley afterwards. Like Brandon said, some of these movies, when they discover who the character that brings in the money, why bother keep calling it Hatchet? Call it Victor Crowley. Same with the Child's Play movies turning into the Chucky movies, and the Nightmare on Elm Street movies started calling them Freddy's Revenge and all that kind of stuff.
And
So
grotesque, we started calling Mildred Moyer.
yeah, yeah. There's a new. You know what, everybody? We didn't advertise them in Brandon's videos, but guess what? There's a new Mildred Moyer video, a movie up on the Higher Universe channel that you should go check out right now. It's kind of like a found footage, true crime sort of thing. Go check it out. Fantastic. Stream it like 18 times and then come back and stream this some more times. And while you're at it, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Brandon's channel on Brandon versus Movies, and please join us next week or not next week, in a few days for Hatchet 4. And we'll see you next time. Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the 3 Minute Horror Show. My name is Ben. I'm your host. I'm joined with Edmonton filmmaker Brandon Reines. He is responsible for the I'm Haunted series and the Grotesque series, and he's got his own YouTube channel called Brandon vs. Movies. And if you're watching this one for Victor Crowley for Hatchet 4, you've probably seen some of our other stuff already. So you don't need to know that we do a lot of these film analysis type videos. We do the Halloween series on my channel. We do Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and we're doing Child's Play on Brandon's channel. Got Hatchet on mine. We're going to do Leprechaun next. So please join us for those. But today we are going to talk about Victor Crowley, aka Hatchet 4. A return to form in the respect that this one was directed again by Adam Green, who directed the first two, not the second, not the third one. That was directed by B.J. McConnell. This one is directed by Adam Green, written by Adam Green, and this was kind of a surprise. No one knew this was coming out, and then all of a sudden it was out. I don't think it got a theatrical release. I don't think any of them got a theatrical release, to be perfectly honest, but they might have. I don't remember what I was doing back in 2004 when the first one came out, other than working. So maybe they did. Who knows? But this one is a little bit on the different side. Brandon, what did you think of this one?
I hated this movie. This movie sucked. It pissed me off. I hated every
Really?
second of it. Well, not every second. This went bad. They toned down a bit of the stupid comedy in
Yeah.
the third one, which it's like these movies should be more serious. Their jokes are not funny. So the third one's like, okay, there's not a lot of jokes. Here, the jokes are bad back, and every one of them is stupid and offensive and bad and not funny. Like the whole part where they're doing the book signing, and
Yeah.
then it's like every joke has to be like just raw. Like chick shows her tits, and it's like, can you sign the left one for me, and then sign the right one for my dad? And then there's like some fat guy comes up and like whips out his dick, and you actually see his dick, and he's like, sign my dick. It's like it's not funny. It's like who like what kind like you have like what kind of juvenile would just find that funny? Like every single joke was offensive, and I hated it. I like if we weren't going to do this review, I would have just like turned it off. But I'm
Oh,
like, I guess we should continue watching it until we get to the kills. And most of the kills, like half the movie, just takes place in a crashed airplane with
yeah.
the same kind of someone's drowning, and it's like they could have just took the 10 minutes worth of Victor Crowley kills out, and that would have been its own good thing. Like this, it just every second of this pissed me off.
Oh no, we're gonna be really different on this one.
Huh? Well,
I thought some of that stuff was funny. I thought that guy
really?
trying to get his little penis signed was very funny because how like there wasn't enough room to sign on. It was
Yeah.
just getting his little wiener out. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
There are a lot fewer kills in this one, but they are very gnarly. They some of the most creative things we've seen so far. Hopefully, you can't hear the bird going nuts right behind me,
Yeah.
but such is the nature of doing these podcasts, right? Um, can you hear that?
No.
Okay, good. All right, I'm gonna leave this in because it's funny. Stupid bird. Either way, this one picks up 10 years after the last one happened, and things have been very quiet in the swamp. Victor Crowley is not come back. He's a memory. People do remember him because now this area of the swamp that Victor Crowley killed all these people in is a huge tourist trap. People go on swamp tours of to see all the spots where Victor Crowley killed everybody and the shack that he lived in, which should have been blown up, I think. But either way, it's back. Um, but people come from all around to go to the swamp. People are filming movies in the swamp all the time. They're filming Victor Crowley tribute movies or, cashing in on the story. And meanwhile, the one survivor, Andrew the paramedic, Andrew Yong, has been profiting off of this tragedy the entire time. People don't like that when people profit off of other people's deaths. He's been doing the talk show circuits. He's been on like Celebrity Survivor or whatever. He's been on celebrity reality shows. He's been, really, really milking this thing, and he's got a new book out. He's on his ex-wife's talk show to publicize this book, and she really lets him have it because she's his ex-wife. She doesn't like him at all, but he's there to publicize this book. His manager is Felissa Rose, who's another horror icon. But I mean, Felissa Rose is in all sorts of indie stuff all over the place all the time. She's got like 300 credits or something like that.
Hmm.
Uh, but the manager is Felissa Rose, and um, at the book signing that Brandon mentioned with the boobs and the penis, there's a trio of filmmakers there. One is a director, one's an actor slash boyfriend of the director, and one's a makeup artist. And they've got a pitch deck that they want to serve to Andrew Young to see if he'll be in their movie about Victor Crowley. What do you think about all this so far? I know what you think about this so far.
Yeah, like I might have hated the movie. The
Yeah,
storyline could have worked.
yeah,
They have it's like okay, there's some filmmakers there doing a Victor Crowley movie, and then Andrew's character gets invited to be part of a documentary, and his manager lies to him and tells him that they're offering him $1 million
yeah,
to be part of this movie. So he's like, because at first he's like, I'm never going back to that swamp, but she's
yeah,
like, hey, give me $1 million. So he agrees to do it. So then he's on an airplane with his ex-wife and his manager and this documentary crew.
yeah.
All of them are fucking annoying as hell.
They all hate each other too. Like they're all nasty.
Yeah, they're all just like it's just like all nasty people. And
One of
well,
them,
basically,
notably, one of them is Tiffany Shepis from the Trauma films.
okay, I don't know that.
Yeah,
And Felicity Rose, as you mentioned, is
yeah,
she was the young girl in the first Sleepaway Camp movie.
yeah.
And honestly, yeah, you said she's been in a lot of stuff. This is the only thing I recognize her from, other than that.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
She's in all sorts of indie movies. She's one of the people who, when you're trying to make your indie movie look legit, you get Felissa Rose or you get Brink Stevens or you get one of those people in it, like
yeah,
or Eric Roberts. You
Eric
throw
Roberts.
some money at them and then they go to the top billing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so basically, this the plane ends up crashing. So now they're stuck in this swamp. At the same time, the this film crew is also there's kind of two film crews. There's like the documentary one, and then there's the three filmmakers who want to make the movie of Victor Crowley. So they're all kind of gathered around in this swamp area,
Yeah.
and you know, say what you expect happens as Victor Crowley goes on like yet another rampage.
But it's funny in the respect that how he comes back, because the film crew is there to meet with a tour guide who they've promised a role in the movie, and he's played by Dave Sheridan, aka Deputy Doofy from the Scary Movie franchise. So Dave Sheridan is there with them, and he's showing them around. But meanwhile, in order to get the voodoo chant right for the movie, they on the makeup artist's phone, she's playing a YouTube video of Professor Voodoo or Doctor Voodoo or Tony Todd's character from the first one movies doing the voodoo chant that created Victor Crowley in the first place. And she kind of leaves it on loop and just like leaves her phone there, and that's enough to restart the Victor Crowley curse. Just having Tony Todd's character do the chant on YouTube on a phone in the area that Victor Crowley died in. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was as good of a reason as any to bring him back, and it
Mhm.
was slightly plausible. Yes, it worked. It
So the tricky part is what sort of contrived reason will end up making him go away after being brought back that way because there's no ashes, there's no nothing. Like, I mean, how could they possibly get rid of him after
yeah.
that?
We'll get to that when we come to it. But
Yeah.
one of the main problems of the movie is I think they had a low budget, so
Hmm.
they couldn't do as much. They couldn't have as many kills. There was fewer
Yeah.
people, and a lot of it just took place in the fuselage of this plane.
Yeah.
But then they had to have all this inter-character drama, which pissed me off. And then one of the characters was like pinned beneath a seat,
Yeah.
and she was slowly drowning, and it looked like it's only her the bottom half of her body. Why couldn't just put a pillow under her head to keep her about out of the water? I don't know. It just
Which
kind of
would have worked. It would work for part of it, and then we'll get into how that would have been foiled after. But that was Tiffany Shepis's character, the one from the Trauma movies, and yeah, she's pinned. She can't get out, and the water is slowly filling the fuselage of the plane that crashed directly over the Victor Crowley swamp. And most of the kills, almost, not all of them, but a lot of the kills in this movie happened through the plane crash without Victor Crowley's involvement at all. And then some more of the kills after that happened from creatures in the swamp. So alligators and snakes and stuff also killed some people that didn't add to the Victor Crowley kill count. They were just nature, I guess. But so after Victor Crowley comes back to life, the first people that see him, the first guy that sees him is Tyler Mane from who is Rob Zombie's Halloween, Michael Myers. He's a tall hunter who just happens to be out there and he gets his head chopped off because Victor Crowley has just come back. And did you notice that that was him?
I did not notice. I did not notice
Bald
that.
guy with a beard. He's like 7 feet
Yeah.
tall. Gets his head
Now
chopped
you
right
mentioned it,
off.
I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's who that was. Yeah.
yeah. So he's the first one that gets it, and then the director and her boyfriend find the shack. And guess what's in the shack, everybody? It's the belt sander. The belt sander's in the shack. And so the boyfriend gets killed immediately because Victor Crowley is now fully back. The girl gets away, and then Victor Crowley chases her down to outside the plane fuselage where everybody else is kind of hiding. And he injures her and tries to use her as bait to get people to come out. And what happens after that is Felissa Rose's character goes nuts and runs out, and we get one of the nastiest kills that has ever been committed to film that I will describe at the end of the video, like I did in the last one. Super, super gross, but pretty funny
I
at the
do
same
have to
time.
interject here and
Yeah,
say
go
that
for it.
for the way she dies, I had an idea for. I think it was for. Might have been Grotesque 2.
Yeah,
I had a similar idea for a kill that I pitched to Julie, my
yeah,
co-producer, and she was like, "Nah." She's like, "That won't work." She's like, "That." She's like, "Anatomically, that's impossible." And I was like, okay, so we decided not to do it. I didn't know
yeah.
that it had already been done in this other movie, so maybe it's a good thing that we
It
didn't
would
do
have
it.
been
But
anatomically impossible for Mildred to pull off because Mildred isn't supernaturally strong.
because she doesn't have the strength. Yeah.
Yeah. But this guy can put things through things, let's just say.
Yeah. I think that was this. I think overall, this movie, like the kills, there was fewer of them, and they weren't as memorable. I was kind of disappointed by them.
Yeah.
That was like probably the most gruesome, like whoa, like kill. The director getting her head stomped. Look, that was pretty gross.
Yeah.
Other than that, like they just like there was something missing with them. Like they're just like okay, I don't know, they just weren't as memorable. There were some good moments of just Victor Crowley. He's prowling around this crashed plane, and
Yeah.
like they can't escape. They're trapped, and he's out there, and they know that like yeah, their friend's injured, but they know he's right there, ready to pounce on them as soon as they go out.
Yeah.
It could have been well done. It's just yeah, I don't know.
He was even up top for a little while, kind of looking at what was going on. He used the angle grinder to try and get in as well. Um, I thought when he starts attacking the plane, when he starts jumping up on the top of the fuselage and jumping up and down, that's when the water started filling in faster. And it got to a point where the Tiffany Shepis character was drowned in the fuselage. I don't think that trying to get her head propped up with a pillow would have happened. It would have worked in that situation. It was too full at that point.
Oh, okay.
I thought that something was going to get her. I thought that one of the snakes was going to get her because there were a bunch of water snakes coming into the fuselage at the beginning too. I thought she was going to get bitten by a poisonous snake. But I mean, it was kind of a um, I don't like to watch drowning deaths like that when you can see the person's eyes and you can see as they're drowning because that's something that could really happen. And it's just like that hopelessness. You can feel the hopelessness that must be running through their brain. Oh, I
Yeah,
don't like that very much.
which yeah, I know what you mean. Like that was kind of
Mhm.
one of the more disturbing parts of the movie because it was a
Yeah.
bit more realistic.
And
But
knowing she was pregnant too, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Bad stuff. Hmm?
you mentioned the snakes and stuff, and I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if with their lower budget they didn't have enough money to get Kane Hodder to be there for as many days as they did
Oh,
the
maybe.
previous ones. So they're like, shit, we can't have as many Victor Crowley kills, but we still need to fill an hour and a half. So they're
Hmm.
trying to find other ways to do it by having other animals and stuff in there. But it's like that's not the reason we're watching this movie. So there's just like so many extended stretches of like anything other than Victor Crowley happening. And then
Yeah.
you get a cool scene with Victor Crowley, and it's like, okay, now the movie's good again. And then back to just other bullshit. And it it just yeah, to me it was the weakest in the series by far.
Oh man, maybe you're making me rethink my rating of it, but no, I'm still going to give it the original rating.
No, yeah, no. I think it's good that we disagree on him. I
Yeah,
like it.
no, I think so too. But yeah, um, but like Brandon said, I don't know if this was a shorter movie than the other ones too, because we're nearing the end of the synopsis here. Once they're in that plane fuselage, There's a bunch of different scenes where people are trying to be brave, or people are braving going out there, and they're giving big speeches about how I'm going to go do this, or I'm going to run and go get the phone so we can try and call the cops. Like the cops would be able to do anything, or just all that sort of stuff that happens in horror films. But people just keep going out there, braving Victor Crowley's wrath and getting killed by Victor Crowley or something else. And it goes that way until there are only three left, and that's Deputy Doofy, that's Dylan, who is Dave Sheridan's character, the makeup artist that came with the director and the boyfriend initially, and Perry Shen's Andrew Young character. They're the three that are left. They can't figure out how they're going to kill this guy, but they figure, you know what? We've got this plane, and the engine might still work if we try and hotwire this plane, if we try and get it going. If we can get a plane engine running, well, like what happens to a bird when it goes through a plane engine? It gets vaporized, right? It turns into red mist. So what if we turn this guy into red mist? Not thinking about like how are you going to get this monstrous, massive man through this thing, but they managed to do it. But it requires the sacrifice of Dylan's character. So he has to do one of those Goldberg spears. Like he
Did,
runs at him. Sorry?
I was going to say, did it really require him to do
It
that?
probably didn't, but I don't know. It did it anyway because I guess that's what he wanted to do for some manufactured drama. But he does the Goldberg spear and he puts the two of them through the turbine, and they turn into red mist.
Yeah, another interesting parallel to grotesque in that movie.
Yeah,
I swear people might watch grotesque and be like, "Oh, I took things from Hatchet." I never saw a single Hatchet movie till about like 3 weeks ago.
yeah,
Um, but it's like there's a part in Victor Crowley where the Andrew character is gonna Victor Crowley's in front of the plane engine. Andrew's gonna shoot him like with a gun,
yeah,
and then she's like, "No, like let me do it." So she throws an axe at him, and the axe just like lands at his feet like uselessly. And then she's like, "Oh, never mind. Okay, shoot him." That's kind of like the part in Grotesque where Mildred throws the knife at
yeah,
Marilyn, and it just kind of like hits her and
yeah,
bounces to the ground. So it's like we must have just been on similar wavelengths.
yeah,
Um, but then of course Andrew shoots Victor Crowley, and he's like stumbling back towards
yeah,
the engine, but not quite far enough.
yeah,
So then Buddy just goes and like tackles him into it.
yeah,
Why not just try kicking him or like pushing him with a stick for try
yeah.
something before sacrificing your life just to get him the extra like foot into the machine? I don't know.
Exactly.
It seemed like he kind of killed himself uselessly.
Yeah, well, I think that you probably were on the same wavelength because that's funny. It's a lot harder to people in the movies throw knives at each other and just straight murk each other with throwing knives all the time. But that's not an easy thing to do. Like if you've ever tried to do axe throwing or anything like that as an activity, it's really hard unless you do it perfectly. It's really hard to get that thing to stick. So
Yeah,
you're and those things have to be weighted properly. If people are just throwing some random ass knife or random ass axe at somebody, it's not going to hit like that. It's gonna that heavy part is going to go to the ground.
yeah,
I liked how Andrew Young had kind of a redemption arc because he was a piece of shit and he was profiteering off of people's deaths. And he was blamed for this, and he really, it wasn't his fault, but a lot of people blamed him for, like, probably half the world's population thought that he was the murderer, and the other half think that he's some sort of supernatural whisperer. But poor guy at the end of this one, sure did look like he killed more people in the swamp, right?
yeah,
So he's going to get blamed for this one too. Um, yeah, I thought I really liked it. I liked the redemption arc. I didn't think the humor was as stupid as Brandon thought it was. I thought it was all right. I didn't like how the people were all nasty to each other. I did like the gnarly kills, but then when I went back to go through my notes again, there really weren't as many as I thought that there were when I first watched the movie.
yeah,
So yeah, it was kind of downbeat. The notable kills in this one, the boyfriend actor guy, he gets his head ripped off by a claw hammer, which is pretty gnarly. He gets a claw hammer through the head and then it rips his head off. One guy gets old school scalped, like he just has his scalp taken right off. And I don't think that that would necessarily kill somebody, but it did in this case.
yeah.
Yeah, people
Probably
survived after
bleed.
being
He's probably
scalped in the
bleeding
Wild
to
West.
death.
Felissa Rose. Okay, so here's the Felissa Rose kill. She has her arm torn off. It is he takes the arm, he shoves it up, and her cell phone's in her hand. He takes the arm, he shoves it up through her vagina, out through her mouth. So her hand, her bloody, disgusting, gory hand holding the cell phone is coming out of her mouth, going through to the end of her vagina.
It was nasty.
It was pretty nasty. And somebody goes and picks up that phone and uses it afterwards too. And then Chloe, the director, as Brandon mentioned, has her head stomped in, which is a pretty standard kill. I mean, we've seen people do that in the Child's Play movies too.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the next one, have you watched the next one yet? Have you watched Cult of Chucky?
I've seen it before,
Okay.
like when it came out, but I
All
haven't
right.
seen it since. I barely remember it, so
Okay.
I'm gonna
So we'll
watch it
talk about
soon
that
to
later.
refresh my memory.
All right. So what did you think of this about this movie overall?
I obviously did not like it. And it's funny you mentioned like the Andrew character because he was probably my least favorite part of the first movie. I hated him in the first movie.
Yeah.
Now he was like my favorite part of it
Yeah.
because it's like like when he's not being an annoying trying to be funny. I think these movies would just I think they should just give up the comedy. Just have a little bit
Yeah.
of comedy. They're better when it's just like a straight up violent horror movie. So I would like I like after part three, I was like, okay, they could end this with part four, and this is a damn good series, right? Like
Yeah.
it's, and then it's just like they ended on this note where I'm like, I hope they never make another one. I'd have to give it a three.
Well, they really left the door open because at the end of this one, Mary Beth Dunstan, Daniel Harris, sees the news reports about how Andrew Young and this young lady, I believe her name is Chloe, survive. No, Chloe is the director. I can't remember the name of this girl. Um, they survive another swamp massacre, and Daniel Harris grabs a shotgun and says that I've been waiting for this motherfucker. And then she,
But I can't believe I totally saw that. I thought that
yeah,
was actually a pretty decent part. When we did our review last time
yeah,
of part three. I forgot that. I couldn't remember if she lived or died, but
yeah.
apparently she lives.
So now, that was 2017. It's 2026 now. I don't think they're going to make another one of these. If they do, maybe he'll put some more money into it and do something really cool, but I don't know. Kane Hodder's getting older. I don't know if he's still down with doing all that stuff.
He's it's kind of unfortunate, but
Yeah.
yeah, they almost have to get a different guy to play the part. I think.
Yeah. I'm kind of interested to watch that Holliston show that Adam Green did, the comedy series that was a horror-based comedy, just to see if the humor is the same. Because if you didn't like the humor in these ones, you probably wouldn't like that show. And I don't know if I would either, other than the fact that Dave Brockie is in it as Odorous Urungus,
Yeah,
playing his character, who is like the imaginary friend of one of the lead characters, I think. Because Dave Brockie was a fantastically talented man, and I thought he was wonderful. But his demons got the better of him
yeah.
several years ago, and that's that. But yeah, did you give an actual number rating of this one yet, or did I cut you
Three,
off? A
three.
three? Okay, three. That's not great. You know what I gave it, everybody? You're gonna be shocked. I gave it an eight. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Whoa,
Can you believe it? It was my favorite one in the series.
really?
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I was just looking up to see what other people thought. So I
Yeah,
googled like Hatchet best to worst. I was
yeah,
looking at other people's lists, and I found another person that said this was their favorite one, and I was like, what? And it's funny because his I'd probably say like two's the best, then one, then three, then four.
yeah,
This one I saw online for some famous horror site had it the exact opposite.
yeah.
So it's
I
like,
had
okay,
mine would go 4, 3, 2, 1.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. So, folks, that brings us to the end of the Hatchet series. It was a shorter one. It was a fun one. It was an early one. But we'll be back on this channel. For the next film analysis that we'll be doing on this channel is going to be the Leprechaun series, which is another one that varies wildly in quality. And we're going to be sticking to the mainline Leprechaun series. We're not going to be doing all the weird clones and all these other ones that came out afterwards. Like British horror ITN came out with one recently, and the Sci-Fi Network had some Leprechaun clones too. We're just going to do the mainline ones, the ones that are in the continuity, or I don't know. Are they in the continuity? They go to space.
yeah.
That's not continuity. I don't know. Whatever. Remember to subscribe to Brandon's channel. Brandon versus Movies, and go and watch his new grotesque movie that just came out as of the recording of this. It's Mildred Moyer crime file, was it?
Mildred Moyer, Diary of a Lovable Psychopath, True Crime.
Yes. I knew that true crime was in it. And I've watched it and I thought it was a lot of fun. But I will watch Elizabeth B. Mildred Moyer any day of the week in anything, and it's lots of fun. Uh, Watch that 14 times and then put a like on it because you can only like it once. And then put a comment on it so that Brandon has more engagement with that. And then hopefully we can get Grotesque 3 made, and that'll be a lot of fun. So subscribe to his channel, subscribe to my channel while you're at it, and please join us again for more stuff like this. Thank you very much.